Filmmakers have a very specific set of storytelling tools at their disposal. Notable among them are dialogue, camera psychology, editing, but it's so much bigger than that. Color is a storytelling tool. So is music. So is character design. If one is to fully understand filmmaking, one must study all its aspects, not just the dogmatic, narrow view of current internet film discourse. Enter the most influential movie franchise of all time. But specifically, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Today, many fans recognize The Clone Wars as the series at its finest, but it wasn't always that way. When the theatrical film and subsequent TV show first debuted in 2008, people hated it. Critics hated it. Roger Ebert himself wrote, "Has the magical impact of George Lucas's original vision of Star Wars been reduced to the level of Saturday morning animation?" Fans hated it, citing the 2003 Clone Wars series as far superior in every way. Yet, somewhere along the line, things changed. Opinions shifted, and now the 2008 to 2020 series of Star Wars: The Clone Wars has become a beloved gem of sophisticated storytelling and complex, nuanced characters. The series is now iconic. Its massive, sprawling arcs are recalled fondly as some of the most memorable Star Wars stories of all time. And for very good reason. This is a series that is handled with dignity and respects its audience, despite being accessible to all audiences, young and old. At this point in the story, the era of peace in the galaxy is over. The republic that governs is fractured, and the planetary systems who have broken off have formed a separatist alliance. The Jedi, who are supposed to be keepers of the peace, not soldiers, that only intervene when absolutely necessary, are now generals on the front lines of battle, and that change is represented in their appearances. Something that the 2003 Clone Wars does very right is that it puts its Jedi characters in carefully designed battle armor. The 2008 series takes this one step further by making this the main appearances for our Jedi hero characters. Now, what's the significance of this armor? To figure that out, we need to work backwards. Darth Vader, obviously a character from a much later point in the timeline of the series, an era after the Clone Wars, when the evil Galactic Empire has seized control of the galaxy. Yet his appearance is hauntingly familiar. Vader, of course, is the fallen Jedi Anakin Skywalker. And if you subtract the helmet, chest piece, and cape, it becomes increasingly obvious where the inspiration for the Clone Wars armor comes from. The most obvious conclusion we can draw from this is that Vader is the progression of Anakin's character, with the blue, maroon, and gray giving way to all black with silver highlights to signify his fall to the dark side. Conversely, since Clone Wars media didn't exist until 25 years after Darth Vader's first appearance in A New Hope, we can gather that Lucasfilm during the 2000s wanted Anakin's Clone Wars appearance to foreshadow the future of his character, as well as to differentiate it from the previous Jedi tunic appearance in the 2002 film Attack of the Clones. However, there's a lot more to uncover here. Let's break down the Jedi Commander appearance into layers. On the very bottom are the traditional cloth Jedi garments, varying slightly in length and color from character to character. For instance, Master Kenobi dons the cloth tunic in traditional light beige colors, signifying his devotion to the light side of the Force. Anakin, on the other hand, shows his individuality by being one of the few Jedi to wear a leather tunic and dark robes, conveying to the audience of his eventual turn to the dark side. Things start to get more complicated when we bring the armor into it. Anakin and Obi-Wan wear their commander armor as gauntlets on their arms and the aforementioned Darth Vader-style shoulder plates. The important thing to note is that they exist on the outer layer of their garments. This is a conscious decision made by the character designers, possibly even Lucas himself, and it carries great significance. By having the hard metal armor over the soft cloth tunics, it takes priority over the regular Jedi attire by existing on the exterior layer of the costume. It's what's presented first. This tells us, the audience, that the Jedi have changed, that the role of these peacekeeping monk-like religious figures is taking a backseat to their role as battle-hardened warriors. And that's a central idea in the Clone Wars, specifically the 2008 to 2020 version. Sometimes the Jedi make bad decisions. Sometimes they fall to the dark side. Sometimes they even accuse and convict the innocent. An important thing to note about Ahsoka Tano is that at no point in the series does she ever wear the armor, despite earning the rank of commander. One might want to explain this by saying it simply doesn't align with her Togruta race's customs, but we have to keep in mind that there are designers and artists at work here behind every decision. It was a conscious choice to not have her bear the commander armor, make no mistake. She never wears the armor that embodies the hypocrisy of the Jedi Order during the war because she represents a different point of view. Towards the end of the Clone Wars, her faith in the Jedi is shaken, and she leaves the Order to find her own path. This complicates the good versus evil narrative of Star Wars. In the original trilogy, the lines are clear. The storytelling is effective, simple, and clean. When we're first introduced to the characters in A New Hope, the good guys are in light colors, the bad guy wears all black. In the prequel trilogy, and by extension the Clone Wars, the simplicity of light versus dark is much harder to get a hold of, and the conflict takes on a more elaborate presentation. There are heroes on both sides. Evil is everywhere. Villains, like the fallen Jedi Count Dooku, don't wear all black. Instead, he dons a brown cape and robes. Granted, they are dark brown, but not completely black like Sidious. Count Dooku was a Jedi. It's not in his character. Mace Windu, although a good-natured hero on the light side, wears a darker tunic than many of his counterparts, depicting the complexity of his character. He is, after all, the one who nearly killed Palpatine without letting him stand trial. The designs of the Clone Wars era are full of color and varying shades of light and dark. We're meant to notice this. We're meant to question the actions of the Jedi in this era and understand that many of the Separatists are good people under bad leadership. We're meant to ask, why? What happened to the Jedi Order? Why are they letting their role as warriors take priority? Not only does the Jedi general appearance convey to the audience that the Jedi Order have been compromised by galactic conflict, but in the case of Anakin Skywalker, it foreshadows what he, and by proxy the Jedi, will eventually become: the dark soldier of the Imperial war machine, Vader. All the while, Ahsoka maintains her purity of soul, never donning the armor that the Jedi wear, and thus rejecting the thing that represents the parts of the Jedi Order that she does not believe in. These are ideas that not only tell the story at hand, but relate to other works that take place later down the line. Anakin in dark robes in the Clone Wars era has significance to Luke wearing dark robes in Return of the Jedi. The connection between the Jedi armor and the sinister suit of armor Darth Vader wears exists not only for in-universe reasons, but for the ideas that connection conveys to the audience. Good, thoughtful character design is a hallmark of the Star Wars series. In the case of the Clone Wars, it's a culmination of the efforts of several different teams of people across multiple generations. In order to get to the Jedi Commander armor and what it represents, we had to have Ralph McQuarrie and his designs for Vader, the robes Obi-Wan Kenobi wore in A New Hope, the Jedi tunics of the prequel trilogy, the designers for the 2003 Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, and finally Dave Filoni and company. Many creators, many different projects, all contributing to different interpretations of the same story, but ultimately the same overarching message about the great conflict, the only fight against the dark side. And that, my friends, is what Star Wars is all about. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here, Cosmovoid is a channel where we celebrate creative and imaginative filmmaking in its many forms. At the very beginning, Cosmovoid was always intended to be a Star Wars channel, but for one reason or another, I just never got around to making a Star Wars video until now. In the past, I've made videos about Jaws and Jurassic Park and Godzilla. This is the first time I've actually made a video about Star Wars, though. I hope to make many videos about Star Wars and about all kinds of stuff in the future. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and may the Force be with you.